Complimentary orchid, she barks, thrusting it up my nose with unnecessary vigor. I turn to Boaz. His slumbering log body seems unperturbed by the disturbance, his mushy face still glued to a yellow travel pillow. His complimentary orchid, however, is dangling precariously from his chin, hanging on for dear life on the power of drool alone. Ew. We're here, I say, lightly tapping the edge of his pinky. He lets out a wet snort and jolts upright with sausagey might, sending the orchid flying. He smiles a smelly smile at me, and despite all the grossness of his visage, I can't help smiling back. We've arrived. Boaz and I met 6 months ago at the Tel Aviv Backpacker Store, a known pickup joint for souls in need of travel companions. Like me, most were recently discharged soldiers wanting emocio-physical release after 3 years of puke green uniforms, AK-47s, and chains of command. Personally, I didn't mind the uniform. It made my ass look good. From my initial conversation with Boaz, it quickly became apparent that he was both chubby and responsible. With much enthusiasm, he described the special medicine bag he would provide for our journey, equipped with everything from anti-diarrheals to emergency inhalers, lest we contract sudden onset respiratory disorder. My mother was thrilled. As far as she was concerned, Boaz was the perfect chaperone for her little girl about to roam Asia, a physically repulsive, medically well-stocked cock blocker. Not that I need one. A cock blocker, that is. Sex has scared the fuck out of me. Literally. Hi, folks. I've only had it once, and that was only kind of. It was a Moroccan paratrooper oddly named Patrick. We had met on my base one cold night 2 years ago. I was on guard duty, Uzi slung over my shoulder, freezing my virginal ass off, when a form suddenly emerged from among the eucalyptus trees. A masculine form, donning a red paratrooper beret, full combat gear, and a hot body to boot. Such a fine specimen was unheard of in these parts. You see, my base was comprised entirely of intelligence units, meaning the only men stationed there were very brilliant and very, very ugly. A real soldier like Patrick was God, which is why I knew I had to snatch this fine paratrooping specimen before that hot bitch in Libya division got wind of him. And so with much alacrity, I frisbeed a flirty comment through the barbed wire gate as Patrick walked past, stopping him in his tracks. By sunrise, he was smitten, and 3 weeks of dating bliss later, I knew I'd finally found my cherry popper. Thank God. By that point, I was the only virgin left amongst my friends, amongst my unit, amongst the entire base for that matter. I was still getting my sex ed from Judy Blume. It had gotten to the point where even just hanging out with the other girls in my unit made me uncomfortable. I found it much safer to just watch them from afar as they'd congregate on the grassy patch by the flagpole and talk about how horny they were after being away from their boyfriends for so long. How they sent their boyfriends care packages with cookies and sexy notes to ease their stressful patrols along the Kasbahs of Jenin and Ramallah. How lucky they would have boyfriends that were so virile they managed to overcome their military exhaustion and fuck 46 times last Saturday. I gave Patrick the imminent deflowering news over dinner at the Hard Rock Cafe. He was overjoyed. Don't worry, he assured me. I'm well endowed, even by Moroccan standards. He wasn't kidding. The man was so huge I was only able to tolerate his presence inside me for several seconds. Dini had not prepared me for this scud-like scenario. The slut. With strained forehead, I requested an immediate pullout, which for some reason was only granted a full pumpy minute later. Apparently, Patrick didn't hear my request the first 3 times. Whereupon I lay in his arms in intense post-coital shivering. Once the pain subsided a bit, I apologized, assuring Patrick that we would try again and make it work. He caressed my hair, gently whispering in my ear that it wasn't a problem, and that he planned on spending more time in Jerusalem with his real girlfriend anyway. And with that, he promptly packed up his Moroccan member and took off, leaving me to shiver my shock out alone. Needless to say, nightmares of eternal hymenization have followed. The way I see it today, my punani has become my own personal Gaza Strip. Against occupation, yet lost without it. Unable to get past the partial penetration stage, wanting nothing more than a stable infrastructure, a proper sewage system, and maybe one day even a rec center. But none of the potential penetrators will do. They're either impatient assholes, boring chubsters, or oversensitive doormats that smell weird. I've gotten so skilled at detecting flaws, I can find at least 5 completely legitimate reasons for dumpage within the first 10 seconds of an encounter, long before sex is even proposed. Well, actually, right before it's proposed. Men move fast in Tel Aviv. But this efficiency has only made me more anxious, for every passing day has further dimmed the light at the end of my biotunnel, leaving me with a virginal hang-up so enormous I've insta-dumped every potential penetrator in the greater Tel Aviv area. My friends, in contrast, couldn't be more sexually active or annoying. And I find myself falling further into the abyss of bitterness, self-pity, and hatred. I finally concluded the only way for me to break free from this oppressive state of frustrated flowerdom is to clean my slate. Go somewhere so foreign and transformational I could forget my own history. Asia.